taking something so they don't have it anymore. And that's not what true gift giving is to me. It's more of an exchange. So what you are giving to her is, hey, so today in our video today, we have a little different of a situation. Normally I like to take questions from parents who are struggling with something. Maybe their young child, won't go to bed, or maybe they blow up, or they're having trouble with patience, or building their children, have their children stop fighting or whatever, right? But today I have a super positive message. It's not even well, it's a good problem, right? To have, and it was just a blessing to me, and I want to pass it along to have it be a blessing to you. And this was actually a DM conversation between a friend and me, and I want to share with you what she said. And she's an awesome mother. Her partner is an awesome father, and this is just a blessing. And I have a little bit of a lesson and application for you at the end. So let's get into it. My 13-year-old gave me my Christmas present early, and I'm having a hard time accepting it. I need someone other than my spouse to tell me that taking my child's gift is okay. So, first, I talk about it all the time on the channel and with clients and in my content. Our words are important. It's something that we don't often think about. And I say it all the time, saying things like, oh, parenting is so hard. It's a 24/7 job. You're making it harder on yourself. You're creating a job for yourself, right? Yeah, we're responsible all the time. There's pressure there and this and that, but it's not a 24/7 job. And if you say that to yourself, you're continually putting in your mind that it's a grind, it's a struggle, there's no reward. So the words here stand out to me first. First, I would say the word taking. Like, I get what she's saying here, and I get what you're saying, and like, it's beautiful. I know how you're feeling. You must be feeling that you're like, man, this is such a beautiful thing, but we're gonna get into the price, $70. I can't take this from my child. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna get into my response to this later. But first, let's take a look at the word choice. I would take out the word taking. Taking is your taking something so they don't have it anymore. And that's not what true gift giving is to me. It's more of an exchange. So what you are giving to her is the feeling of accomplishment. It's the feeling of giving, right? And by showing that appreciation, you're giving a lot more than you're receiving in this area. But all that to say, let's be mindful of the words that we use, because the words that we use affect how we feel. That's the underlying principle, right? So I would change the word taking, even when you're, if you want to tell the story because it's funny, you're like, I couldn't even take that from my child. That's one thing. But the message is to be mindful of the word choice that we have, that we choose, right? She saved up $70 from her babysitting money for me to get my septum pierced. Saved enough for the piercing and the tip. And when I saw this, like when I read this message, as I said, this is a DM conversation. But when I read this, I teared up. It was so phenomenally special. And I said this to her privately, and I want to say it publicly and to you, like, congratulations on growing, raising and educating a 13-year-old girl to have the foresight and the thought to not only save up enough money from her babysitting money, her job. She had this planned to save up for the piercing and a tip. I mean, that is a thoughtful gift, not only for the gesture, but she's really thinking about everything and covering all the bases. That is an amazing job. I thought she has been saving for another piercing for herself when she asked me months ago. And here it is, months ago. She saved up shit. This was a gift that was in the works for months, right? Like planning, preparing. That's another reason why it's not taken because she's planning this. This was her project. And by receiving this, you're allowing her to fulfill her project. You know what I mean? And man, also, I hope this mother, I hope you celebrate yourself in this too. Obviously, celebrate your child, but celebrate yourself and your spouse for like raising this. Of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. She's 13. Of course, there are times when they battle and fight and sass and and are at each other's throats. That's called family. You know what I mean? But this is amazing. I've been wanting to get it done for over a year, and there's always been something more important to put money into. So she saw that, she saw the need, she thought ahead. You're special enough to her and valuable enough to her that she wanted to do this. That's amazing. So now let me get into my response. My response in this was no, I don't think it's okay to accept this gift. I think it would be cruel and wrong to not accept this gift, right? It would be cruel and wrong not to because you're robbing her the gift and the joy of giving her mother this special gift that she had been preparing, right? You're robbing her of that joy. And when I said this, like a light bulb went off for her, right? She just needed to hear this. She knew this. And that's the exact reason why I didn't say something like, like what most maybe, parent helpers, most people might say, "Oh, of course you can take it." I didn't want to say that for two reasons. One, because I know this person in real life, and I know that like this sort of response would be well received, that she would get it. And number two, something I always teach when talking with our kids or talking with anyone, even if you're a content creator or something, a pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt. Something that's not expected to kind of bring our attention back to, to whatever the present moment, right? To break the pattern. So it's not just like an automatic response. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? Like we're not just having an automatic response, but we are gaining attention and helping them get to the present moment. So it's not just empty words, but really it speaks to, her heart, right? And she was appreciative. And then I mentioned if you are, and this is kind of funny, I mentioned if you are, do feel funny about accepting it, you could always say some stupid joke like, well, now there's no way I can top you this year for gifts, so I'm not even going to try. Congratulations. So all that to say that, celebrate yourself when your children create something like this. And another thing, $70, what do you think that's a surprise to her? She'd been planning all this, you know? And who's to say that $70 is a lot of money? For some people it is, for other people it isn't. Obviously, for her, this is something very special. And the value of doing this for her mother is worth much more than the $70. So that's another thing. If you are, you know, whatever your beliefs are about money, our beliefs don't have to be turned into our children's beliefs. So if I think that $70 is too much for her to spend for me because it's a lot of money because I haven't, thought of a way to, because I have things like this too. I've wanted to do things and be like, oh, when things even out or when I get a nest egg or whatever excuse I use, and then I have one, and then it's like another excuse gets in the way, right? It comes down to self-value, really. But anyway, if $70 is a lot for me, it doesn't have to be a lot for my children because I ultimately want my children to grow up with a higher money mindset than what I have. And I'm growing my own money mindset on a daily basis. So regardless if it's 70, 80, 130, whatever, this is a thoughtful gift that's been, months in the making. And I remember when I was 13 years old, I, had more money than I had, I had a job, yeah, if you have a job, you have no expenses at 13. So there's that. But I want to talk to you if you're watching this. There are many emotions that can come up when reading something like this or with having a story like this. When I read it, I got teary eyed. I really did. And I told her in our message, and she said she totally cried, obviously. But I got a little choked up and tears started to come down because it's so beautiful, because I was so proud of her. But also, we all are seeing a message like this from our own experience. I create content for parents. I also know her from my real life. But for her to think of me to share this beautiful story, asking for validation or whatever, even if she wasn't asking anything and she just wanted to share it. I've had parents share beautiful stories and beautiful moments with me. And that makes me feel amazing because that makes me feel validated that, my content is resonating. Right? So that's my perspective on hearing a story like this. And I was proud. Now I know some people are looking at this and they have all sorts of different emotions. Maybe not even all positive emotions. Maybe you're filled with thoughts like, my daughter would never do this. My son would never do this. I wish they would do something like this. I wish I would have done something like this for my parents. Whatever your situation is, right? I wish that they would do something like this. There is time to change it. There's time to learn. There's time to grow. There's time to confess. There's time to turn around and go the other way. There's time to make up. There's time to communicate. There's time to start communication. There's time to fix what's wrong. And let's say your kids are small, or maybe they're 10 or 12 or 13, or you have so much time and you think, oh, I've missed the boat on the most influential years, which are 0 to 7 years old. Oh, now it's too late, or even 16 or 20. Do you know, up until about 25, our brains are still forming. We're still forming who we are emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. We're always forming, we're always growing. So I just want to share that it's not too late. The best way that I've found for me and for my clients and for people I've helped and for friends, the best way to make amends, the best way to take that first step is to be transparent. Recognize your faults, not in poor me, I'm just so awful. I should have been there. I'm so bad. Like, not in a show way. But what do you want, especially if your children are adults or they're grown or teenage? Like, listen, I messed up. Like, how can I, like, think to yourself first? How can I, what's a good first step? What can I do? How can I open the lines of communication? So start with transparency, start with looking inside, start with fixing what's inside of you, your shadows, your demons, your addiction, your communication patterns, your temper, and then take step by step to resolve that. If that's what you want, take steps to get closer. You don't climb Mount Everest in one jump. You don't even climb it without training. You don't even climb it without failing a few times. It takes one step. It takes training. It takes strength. It takes persistence. Same thing to repair a relationship. Same thing to improve and grow a relationship. right? So awesome job. This just lightened up my day, my whole weekend when I saw it. It's just amazing for so many reasons, so many lessons in here. I appreciate you. If you have any parenting questions, want to drop some of your own advice or whatever, Conscious Parent Leaders on Facebook. If not, you can type them below. And any breakdowns, I always keep anonymous, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.